Hell yeah.
Mission failed here. That's good.
That is good. Very good. Alrighty.
If I'm like leaning off to the side, I have a strawberry the size of a fucking like I don't know what the size of that is.
It's a
Um,
decently sized strawberry.
it hurts. That's why you don't play softball without sliding shorts on, kids.
That's true.
Because I was literally running late. I got there. I thought the game was at 9, and it was in Hastings, which is like a 2-hour drive. So I'm up at like 4:30 a.m. Like stopping at McDonald's, grabbing some gas. I'm like, I got plenty of time. And the guy's texting like, game starts right at 8. And I'm like,
Yikes.
you mean 9, right? And they're like, no, 8. I'm like, shit, I read the schedule wrong. So I pulled in the parking lot at 7:58 and ran straight on the field. So needless to say, I was not very prepared.
Yikes.
Anyway, nobody wants to hear about my ass.
Attention to detail, chat. Very important.
That's right. That's right. I might wince a few times though. Oh boy.
Let's see. Well,
what's going on in Ben's world? Give us a
my
little Ben
world.
update.
Yeah, y'all don't want that update.
Oh, come on.
Nah.
You don't gotta get into specifics.
Um.
Maybe the only way for you to get into your life would be to get into specifics. So we'll just breeze past that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Next time.
My life is
Next
still.
topic.
I'm still on the struggle bus right now. Anyways, we'll start with the fact that Mother Nature hates America.
Dude, okay. I haven't even told you this yet, but I legit had a dream that there were fire tornadoes.
Oh God.
There are fire tornadoes. I saw a freaking post today. I'm like, okay, I have dreams all the time that the world's ending and that we're like under attack by like Russia or aliens or something. And I was telling one of my friends about it, and she's like, "You're a psychic." I'm like, I hope I'm not a psychic because I just had a dream about fire tornadoes. I didn't know those things were a real thing, but like I was running through a field and like a bunch of shit was on fire and these tornadoes were coming down, and when I was just sitting there like, well, we're fucked. Like, all right, here we go. And if you read some end times revolution type shit about the 3 horsemen and fire tornadoes kind of sounds like what we're living in right now. So
it is getting closer to that point every day. I think it's not good. But yeah, no, California is on fire yet again. So
mission failed, says Darth. I don't know how the F. Again, I'm trying not to curse as much. You guys say whatever you want. I'm just trying to stay away from it because it's an easy cop out instead of using intelligent words for myself, not for everybody else. I'm just solely speaking about me here. Anyway, I derailed already. Darth, I don't know how the F you haven't been deployed somewhere in the U.S. over the last 6 months.
That's because my job in the military does not need me to deploy to take up arms, and that's what the National Guard's for. So, my favorite ginger, non-ginger, nice beard going. Oh, if I dips because of mommy duties.
Thanks, Lacey.
No worries, Lacey. Appreciate you.
Nice beard going. Oh.
I got mine trimmed.
Thanks,
I went and got a haircut and got mine trimmed up and shaped up. So
this is the part of my beard where it starts to take on a life of its own. I don't know what's happening. I just let it grow. We're in the middle of softball season. It's almost over though.
Let it ride.
And then I'll stop looking like a homeless person.
But yeah, so
yeah, California's on fire.
California's on fire again.
We need some rain again. Do they know how this one started? Was this lightning strike?
Let me look. I can't remember. There's an article
That's the thing that I can't figure out. I mean,
I know I can
figure it out. I know I can figure it out. Like, and I know they can source a lot of them, but I'm like, how does this happen all the time in California?
I think it was lightning. Yeah, there's a lot of lightning and not any rain, so it's more lightning strikes causing the wildfires. So California's just getting absolutely crapped on right now, and if I want to be cynical, it's because their state is in a shambles, and nature's like, y'all need to fix yourselves.
Yeah.
And then
I hate to say it every time, but when you literally put up fucking porter potties and
for
you
the
start
homeless,
putting stakes up underneath bridges so they don't sleep there instead of investing that money into actual housing situations that could actually potentially fix the problem so people don't get fucking typhoid in 2020.
yeah, that why how the
Don't even want
fuck.
to get started.
And
Don't even
then
want to get started.
there's two hurricanes chilling down in the Gulf of Mexico right now, getting ready to make landfall. I think at least I don't know about the one of them, but at least I don't know about the other one, but one of them is expected to be a Category 2 when it makes landfall, which isn't terrible, but also not great. Um,
Telling you, Jesus is gonna slide through one of these days. I've been thinking a lot about the fact that
it's actually expected to
like
make
like
landfall in
God
like an
could for
hour.
real be like an alien.
Eh,
I mean, when you look at the true definition of an alien, it's an entity that's not from this world. So,
true. So
just
I'm
speaking in the true definition form, God
gonna get
is
super
technically an
technical.
alien.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not implausible, I don't think.
Nope. Yeah. So what do we got? The first hurricane. Which one is this one? Marco. Hurricane Marco is expected to make landfall in like an hour in Louisiana, and then there's another one coming. Tropical storm Laura. So the first one's a hurricane. I think last I saw was it's gonna be close to a Category 2, and then you have a tropical storm moving in literally right after that. Um, it's about to hit Louisiana, I think, both of them, or at least right down in there. So those the South is it's about to get shafted pretty hard with some rain and and a hurricane. So that's a big old yikes. So if you guys,
China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are having a laugh at how bad America is getting shafted right now. I would laugh at Russia for being Russia and North Korea.
North
They
Korea
believe
has
that Kim
no,
Jong Un doesn't poop
they have
and
no
that he
room.
controls the weather. So
They have no room to laugh.
trying
And
to feel like communism.
China's doing their own things, and they don't get to laugh at us either. We might be getting slapped with natural disasters and a virus that we don't know how to take care of because everybody's selfish, but they are doing far worse things to people's civil liberties and human rights than we
I
are.
would still take America out of any of those four other places. That's for damn sure.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Um, yeah, so I don't know about any other natural occurrences that are going on right now, other than those two, well, three, I guess, technically major ones. California's on fire again because they can't get rain, but they just get lightning. And the South is going to get destroyed with wind and rain. So
Nothing we ain't seen before.
that is true. We'll get through it.
Nothing we ain't seen before.
They'll get through it. It'll just be interesting to see how Corona plays an effect on how they get through it and if it exacerbates the issue or not.
Well, you're gonna have to put a lot of people into shelters, you know, because a
Yeah.
lot of people are gonna be forced to evacuate, and you're gonna evacuate them all to the same place, and henceforth.
I feel like at that point you're going to be evacuating, but nobody's really going to be caring about masks like at that point. So it's like, or at least they'll be handing them out. But like the problem that might arise with that is you get some people in there that are anti-maskers. They're like, we need shelter, and they're like, well, here's a mask. And they're like, well, we're not fucking wearing that. I mean, I don't think you can turn them away, but
Did you see the video of that lady without a mask on flexing her Platinum American Express card?
no.
Ultimate Karen, dude.
Oh no.
Ultimate
We
Karen.
found the boss of all Karens.
She's like in a Walgreens, and she's like standing in line complaining about how there's a line. So this like girl in front of her who has like two items and she's got a whole cart full behind her is like, here you go ahead, go in front of me. Apparently you're in a hurry. And this guy starts filming, and the cashier is like, well, she should stand in line like the rest of us. And the cashier's like, she was in line, she's letting you go ahead in front of her. And she's like, well, is she just gonna stand here, or is she gonna get back in line? And the cashier's like, hey, I just told you she's letting you go ahead of her. And then this guy starts filming, obviously. And she's like, you see this? This is a Platinum American Express card. He's like, oh, you must be very rich. She's like, I am very rich. Like, fucking people, dude.
Jesus.
Humanity. Karens. They drive me crazy.
The worst type of people. Who cares if you have a Platinum American Express card? I could give a shit less.
It's
That
been
doesn't
3 years in
mean.
a row. How long do we think until people permanently evac certain areas of Cali
I think
due to
most of the
fires?
people that have had their homes affected by a wildfire in California probably just decided to not live in that area again. Some of them probably did rebuild, but I feel like if I was over there and I got my house and everything destroyed by a wildfire, I'd probably be like, yeah, no thanks.
Well, it's the Detroit effect that's going to happen in California. Like Detroit, in the heart of the Industrial Revolution, they were balling. Like
True.
they were making all those cars there, and it was like, a place where people were moving because it was like a Los Angeles.
Used to be
It was
popping.
somewhere, yeah, somewhere you went, and then they're finally, I think it was last week, figured out a deal to get clean water back to Flint, Michigan. Like,
It's been two
oh,
years,
that's nice.
2+ years. How are we just now getting clean water back to Flint?
Yeah. Um,
Jeez.
but a lot of people are going to move. I mean, between the taxes, Gavin Newsom's a fucking idiot. That guy's a joke. Um, California is not a very desirable place to be right now.
No, and all of them want to move to Texas, and Texas is like, please stop. Please stop moving here.
So many people are pissed at Joe Rogan right now for saying he's moving to Austin. He's like, I'm sorry. I like it there. It's a cool place. Like stop saying it. We're already overpopulated.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, Beto O'Rourke almost fucking won Texas, which that would have been a goddamn disaster.
Yeah,
Beto, your name is Robert, okay?
Yeah.
Stop with your little
Freaking Beto.
Beto.
I don't know.
He seems like a cool dude. Again, a lot of Democrats seem like pretty, like, I would like to sit down and have a beer with them and be like, come on, you don't really believe all this, do you?
Yeah, this isn't.
And there's a lot of Republicans that I would not want to sit down and have a beer with, and I'll still say, I know you don't believe all this. I'm not picking on Democrats. There's a lot more Democrats I'd rather have a beer with than Republicans, quite honestly.
Yeah. I know plenty of Democrats, and I'm friends with them. But sometimes I'm like, you really? That's what you're going with. That's what you're.
Oh,
that's the horse you're backing.
Dude, I was at the Topeka bar last week.
Oh God.
And I was talking to this guy, the hotel bar. We went out and had dinner with all the reps and everything. Got back to the bar, and I was just gonna have a whiskey. It was like 9:30, and then I was gonna go to bed. And me and this guy get to talking, and we kind of have similar views. He's like, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, like an older guy from South Carolina. We actually had a lot of very similar views, and I was talking to him about, I just can't believe Kamala Harris is the one.
Ugh.
Like, not only Biden, but then backed by Kamala Harris. And this girl comes up next to me, and she's pretty drunk. And she's like, what's wrong with Kamala Harris? I'm like, and I'm immediately like, I'm not trying to pick a fight with drunk girl at the bar in Speak, Kansas. Like, clearly very Democrat, just by her initial reaction. Like, instead of picking on Kamala Harris, I just would have liked to really see Tulsi Gabbard get up there. She's like, what's so great about Tulsi Gabbard? I'm like,
she was really wanting to fight.
She served our country, for like, what was it, 3 tours over in Afghanistan? And my big thing why I like Tulsi Gabbard so much is because she destroyed Kamala Harris on the debate stage.
I watched the video.
I've talked about this before. I apologize. About her crime bill and about her history as a attorney general and district attorney, blah, blah, blah. And I give her like a very short synopsis, like 2-minute synopsis. And she turns to her friend and she goes, this guy's too fucking smart for me. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to walk away now. It's like, thanks for the conversation. I really appreciate yeah, you just go fucking vote for Kamala Harris, you dumbass.
Well, I mean, at least she was smart enough.
Like, if you're gonna come at somebody, at least have a formulated opinion.
Yeah, but at
You
least she
know?
was still smart enough to be like, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah, the guy from South Carolina was like, "That was beautiful." He's like, "That was so beautiful." Like, yeah, I'm like, "Thanks, I guess."
Thanks,
I
I
don't.
guess. I mean,
I'm not even smart. I'm not even a smart person when it
you've
comes to
just
politics. I'm just
educated yourself enough.
generally educated.
Yeah. Which is what we, said before. Beto should be beta. O'Rourke should be male. Beta male. No apology needed. Lamo, Alex, you just took the W of the year. Nice.
I wasn't
Um,
even trying to take a W. I really want someone to explain to me how Kamala Harris is a viable vice president candidate. I just want one person to change my mind. Because if my ideas are dog shit, I'll be the first to say, okay, maybe you're right. That could be right. Like, I'm not married to any of this shit.
yeah.
Somebody please change my mind. It would help me sleep better at night. But can't figure it out.
Can't do
I
it.
don't know. I don't know.
Who knows, man?
I don't know. Can't figure it out. Oh well.
Oh, well, oh,
I'll
well.
just vote for JoJo Jurgensen.
Yup.
Keep talking shit on a podcast.
Yep. That's all we can really do, and honestly. Just. Man.
I do appreciate all the beard comments though.
Yeah, that's nice.
I do
Well, except for
appreciate that. You
combos
guys are
telling
really
me I
feeding
still
my
need
ego
to
here.
shave mine. I don't think it looks that bad. Oh,
No,
well.
dude, yours is fine.
I know it's just the
Yours is
I
fine.
think it's the length I need to keep it. I don't really need to grow it out. Just need to keep it nice and close.
For a long time, dude, I was the prototypical white ginger with the chin strap because it didn't grow in up here very much. So I was just always the chin strap
No,
all the way
not
around.
the leprechaun beard.
Hey, and with don't forget the diamond earrings.
Oh god.
Diamond earrings. And always rocking a Famous Stars and Straps t-shirt.
Oh no.
I worked at PacSun, bro. I was super cool. I worked at PacSun. All right. I got those shirts on discount.
I hate everything about what you just said. It's so bad. It's so cringy.
I was a tool. I was a douche.
Oh,
I know. I was
God.
a huge douche.
It reminds me
Bro,
of my
stoner life, bro.
That reminds me of my sophomore year of
24/7, dude.
my sophomore year of college. I was such a tryhard. I was dressed like super nice to try and impress people, and it was just I was such a douche. Ugh.
I went from pink American Eagle polos with the popped collar in like freshman year of college to like huge like baggy pants with holes and wearing my Vans and my Famous Stars and Strap shirt and
God,
my
no.
Fox hat with my earrings. Yeah.
All of this
Not
sucks.
not a good look.
All of this sucks.
Not a good look. I grew up though. Now I just wear hats with pineapples on them.
Hey. What you gotta do? You know what else is not a good look? Was it Kenosha Police Department of Wisconsin?
Oh,
Damn it!
that
I
guy that
just
got shot in the back.
I closed that article out. I'm so pissed.
Can we stop fucking shooting people in the back? Please?
Yeah. So that's not a good look for them.
Please.
This man was. I'll pull up the article real fast, but from my initial looking, this man was just trying to break up a fight between two women. Here we go. He was just trying to break up a fight between two ladies. And apparently was not, he didn't really, I haven't seen the video, and honestly, I don't really want to watch the video. He was trying to break up a fight between two women, and the cops showed up. And he ended up not, he wasn't complying with what the police were saying because he was still trying to break up the fight. And instead of, there was multiple officers there, so instead of multiple officers trying to just restrain the gentleman, they decided to shoot him 7 times in the back, which has now sparked, rightfully so, more outrage and protests due to that incident. And this article actually says that they just deployed the National Guard to help back up the police force because there's protests and riots happening. It says, let's see right here. It says right here, protesters took to the streets Sunday evening into the early hours of Monday in Kenosha, roughly 40 miles south of Milwaukee. In the video, a man identified as Jacob Blake is seen being shot multiple times as he leaned inside a vehicle. So, I mean, given there was probable cause, I guess, to a degree for them to think that maybe he was reaching for a weapon inside the car. Um, and he was taken to a Milwaukee hospital. Officials said he was in serious condition. And I think actually I saw a tweet earlier that said he got shot 7 times in the back, but he's actually in stable condition now, and it looks like he's going to pull through. So he got shot 7 times in the back, but at least he's going to pull through.
Oh, he's gonna live?
I think so. I saw something on Facebook about it earlier.
I gotta be honest, I haven't seen the video. I've done zero research
Well,
on it.
I
I'm
just
completely incompetent.
heard about it, I think, today, earlier today. Um,
I hope he lives.
The officers were responding. Here you go. Here's the backstory. The officers were responding to a reported domestic incident when the officer-involved shooting took place shortly after 5 p.m. on Sunday. In the roughly 20-second graphic video, a black man can be seen wearing a white shirt and black shorts. He and the officers are standing next to a gray SUV. The video, which appears to have been recorded from a nearby building across the street, shows the man walking around the front of the vehicle towards the driver's side door where he opens the door. Trailing him are two officers, both with their guns drawn. Screams can be heard from the bystanders. It is unclear what was said between the man and the officers before he walked away from them. "Don't you do it," one bystander can be heard yelling repeatedly. So the bystanders were yelling at the cops, like, "Don't do it, don't you shoot him." One of the officers trailing the man grabs his shirt with his left hand in what appears to be an attempt to pull him away from the vehicles. The officer's service weapon in his right hand is pointed inches from the man's back. As soon as the man leans inside, the officer appears to shoot, and 7 shots ring out. Moments later, sounds of the vehicle's horn can be heard, presumably from the man falling into it. A woman can be seen jumping up and down before another officer pushes her away. It was then confirmed that the man Jacob Blake's 3 sons were in the car he was getting into when the police shot him. They saw the cop shoot their father. They would be traumatized forever. People at the scene following the shooting said Blake was trying to break up a fight between 2 women, according to the news over in Kenosha. Police department provided few details about what led to the shooting, but said the shooting victim was given immediate aid before being airlifted to a hospital in Milwaukee. And then obviously after that, several hours later, protesters took to the streets. And then riots started shortly after that.
Well, I don't want to be insensitive, and obviously I haven't seen the video, so but if everything that you're saying is true,
And this was
the guy shouldn't have got shot,
No.
but also you cannot reach back into your vehicle when you're being instructed by police officers who are trying to control the situation. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, obviously, excessive force was used. But, on the flip side of that, devil's advocate, sort of, if a police officer is telling you not to go to your vehicle, not to reach into your vehicle, just comply, step back, let them assess the situation, and then you repeatedly ignore those requests and then reach into your vehicle, in a police officer's mind, in that moment, in that situation, one of the things that's going to run through your mind is he reaching for a weapon?
exactly.
And so at that point, you have to make the decision to either wait and see if he's going to reach for a weapon and come out firing, or you go into preventative measures or preemptive measures to protect yourself and your partner and perhaps other bystanders around, and then you shoot, you fire your weapon. So it's a very muddled situation right here, with, I think, blame to be passed on both sides.
Well, if you look at videos of officers being drawn on and officers being struck or killed by weapons, that shit happens in the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, it's a your adrenaline is through the roof. Obviously, these guys know that they're being watched and probably know that they're being recorded if bystanders are saying, don't
Don't
do
do it.
it,
Yeah.
don't shoot him. Like, they're aware of the stakes. And you put yourself in, you put anyone into that situation where your adrenaline is going through the roof. Like, there were 3 fights this weekend at the softball tournament just from dudes being drunk and being idiots and adrenaline rolling high, you know? And then you put a weapon into somebody's hands in a situation where they're sober, but their adrenaline is legitimately giving them like it puts you into a state where you're in you're not drunk obviously, but you're like your reaction time has to be quick.
Right.
Like, again, I don't want to be insensitive because I don't think the guy should have been shot, but don't put a police officer into that situation.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't put yourself into that
Yeah. No,
situation.
and that's the thing. You can't like. Neither of us are trying to be insensitive to this situation at all.
No.
Um, but at the same time, you also, don't put yourself or officers in a situation where they, you know, could be, required to use excessive force like that or force like that. Like, don't just
It,
it's not really all that difficult to comply. And I get, maybe, why he wasn't trying to comply. He's trying to check on his kids in the car, um, that kind of stuff. But had had the officers perhaps approached the situation a smidge differently, and then Jacob Black actually complied with what the officers were telling him not to do, this could have all gone a different way, and maybe and nobody would have ended up being shot.
Let cooler heads prevail.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do their job. And
Like you were
I,
you were breaking up a domestic dispute or whatever. Cool. The cops show up. Maybe just disengage from that and step off to the side and wait for the officers to come up and question you about what was going on. Like,
yeah, and if you're a police officer, maybe don't go running up with your weapon drawn, in a situation where tensions are already extremely high.
right? Like you're
Maybe try to, again, maybe let's train our police officers differently.
yeah.
So
Like maybe
they
not your first instinct be
somebody
to
goes and actually de-escalates the situation instead of walking up with their weapon drawn.
yeah.
Did you did
Teach
you
them to not
see?
reach for their pistol as the first course of action.
I think it was after Michael Brown. There was a reporter that wrote this huge story about police officers and how the guy was very unjustly shot, so on and so forth. Not taking any stance on that at all. Just calling the situation the situation. And they put him through the same training that police officers go through when they get into a situation where they're trying to de-escalate, and they give the reporter like a fake gun, and it's like, this is your gun that you'll have to use. We're going to put you into different scenarios. There's going to be a scenario where you're actually going to have to use your gun because the other guy has a gun. There's going to be another scenario where the guy's just high on some sort of drug, and they put him in 3 different scenarios, and 2 out of the 3 scenarios, he drew his weapon and fired his fake weapon when the guy had like a cell phone in his pocket or like,
Mm.
so he literally failed every step. And then the actual one where the guy was armed, the reporter was quote unquote shot, and the guy was like afterwards, like, this completely changed my outlook on these situations. And like, you get put in that fight or flight scenario and like a different set of neurons start firing, and you're just like, I gotta be safe. I gotta save
I gotta
myself
stay
here.
alive. Yeah,
Like,
and
you literally convince yourself into thinking that it's justified.
right. And that's what a lot of people don't get is they can't see it from that side. They're always like, why they reach the gun first? And you're like, if you were in that situation,
Well, and again, the right's going to be like, oh, shouldn't have reached into his car. He should have complied. And the left's going to be like, we shot somebody in the back 7 times. That's gross. And we should string him up by his shoelaces, and put
Mm-hmm.
him in jail for life. And it's like, okay, somewhere in the middle, there's room for improvement
Right.
on both sides, engaging with police officers, engaging with a situation that is a very high, tense, stressful situation. But
Yeah.
you can't just go to the public platform and be like, well, take his badge, take his gun, he's done forever.
Yeah. You can't do that. So, but
Yeah.
this kind of keys into what somebody asked last week: is if the protests and the riots will ever stop. And as long as stuff like this keeps happening, that no, they're not going to stop. People will always protest and well, hopefully they will always peacefully protest what they feel is right, and for certain for injustices that happen. And this one may not have been an actual injustice, but it was it was a very fast situation. It was a very confusing situation because in the heat of the moment things happen. Um, but as long as things like this keep happening with the state that how highly racial things are keyed in right now, the protests are going to continue to happen, and we'll see what happens come November if there are more protests based um, around whatever political party gets in office.
We got to get away from outrage culture.
We really need to everybody just needs to take a step back and breathe for a minute and take it easy on the cancel culture. Take it easy on the knee jerk reactions, and the hot takes, and immediately going off of what one person has reported on a situation from their perspective, and let the full story develop, and fact check on multiple sources to figure out what's going on, and then move on from there as to whether or not a protest is needed, or if in that instance what happened was the correct course of action.
One in the middle of a pandemic where people are already feeling uncertain and shaky and nervous, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's the perfect breeding ground for shit like this to
Yeah,
continue to happen. People aren't working. LA's shut down again. Like,
Twitter is a cesspool of hate and hot takes and pot stirring, and people are spending too much time on that website
it's
and
that cycle, dude.
and getting keyed up.
It's that cycle. I want to have the hot take. I want the most likes. I want the most retweets. So
I want to
I'm
go
gonna
viral.
say I'm gonna say the most outlandish shit and really strike a nerve with all these people who are liking and retweeting it and saying, you know what? God damn it, they're right. Son of a bitch. And again, on both sides. Like, this should never happen. This is a crime against humanity. And the other people saying, can you believe this idiot, out here? Like, I saw a sign in Kansas. It was funny coming back from Topeka. I drove past a house where the sign that said, did you know that 1 out of every 3 Democrats are just as stupid as the other 2? And I was like, yeah, because that's really gonna make people want to vote Republican, man.
Yeah, but
Like,
you guys out
that's
there
really
just
gonna work.
bashing them
And
like that.
then I saw a sign when I got back to Omaha that said, um, what did it say? It said, still don't think our country is the fault of Republicans, and then it had like the eye emoji
Oh God.
question mark, and it was like time to wake up. I'm like, you stop, just stop. Why do we have to pit two sides against each other like this?
Because it's what people do. They just cannot not you know do shit like that.
It's frustrating. It's so
Extremely frustrating.
frustrating. It makes me legitimately sad.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize that sign in Kansas is just as fucking stupid as that sign in Omaha? Like, you're not accomplishing anything.
Yep.
It would be like if you and I both had terrible lives and we just sat around all day looking to blame anybody else that we could and just felt sorry for ourselves all day, but never really did anything to improve our situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing as a country right now. We're sitting around and throwing shit at each other on both sides of the aisle, and nobody is doing anything to actually improve the situation.
Not even a little bit.
Why? I don't care if you got an R next to your name or a D next to your name. Nobody is doing anything to actually improve the situation and unify the nation.
Yeah, not
The
even.
freaking Democratic rally was just as putrid and as horrible as I'm sure the Republican rally will be this week. Like,
Yeah.
there is a meme going around that's like, tell me why you're voting for Biden, but don't mention the word Donald Trump. Like, I would love to hear that.
Yeah,
Tell
somebody
me tell
please.
me why you're voting for Biden and don't bring up Donald Trump. Don't pit the two evils against each other. Just tell me factually, instead of because we got to get this asshole out of the office. Leave all that out and tell me why on a basic level, just solely based on his policies, what you think is going to change.
Not
After the
much.
guy's been in established politics for 46 years. What did Kamala Harris change?
Nothing. She actually
What did
made
she do?
she made things worse, honestly. At least on the with all of her criminal um laws and shit that she passed and
Are there, other than keep people on death row for
years.
years, a decade plus?
And then block evidence to get she blocked evidence and then kept threw the book at people for minor crimes so that she could keep cheap labor in California. It's
Drug
just
related charges.
drug related charges. First time marijuana offenses, just on possession, not even intent to sell or anything like that. Threw the entire prosecuting book at them, and then, um, in order for her to keep labor cheap, so you could have cheap labor, which is basically slavery. She basically put people in jail to be slaves.
I know I said I was going to try to not cuss as much, but fuck them, dude.
Yeah,
I'm so sick of it. Fuck them all.
it's time for a change, and this year, maybe, hopefully, we can get a third party candidate
I
to
don't.
do some change.
I'm
If
not
enough
hopeful, my
people,
friend.
I know I'm not either. I saw something perhaps that Joe Jurgensen had at least 25% of America on her side.
I hope so.
It was something along those lines. I really hope she does, and I hope that those 25% tell the other 75%. And then maybe some good comes of it. I don't know. Um,
I'm going to look at JoJo Jurgensen polls right now.
do it.
82 per. Wow. Well, that's from beinglibertarian.com. I don't know about.
I don't know where you find your most unbiased polling.
I know. This one says 82% of people considering. That's very loose.
That's a loose, yeah.
That's
That's them in passing, going like, maybe.
Oh, she's a doctor. I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Dr. Joe Jurgensen.
Doctor of what though?
Doctor of the truth, Ben. Just kidding.
I think she's a professor, so she's probably got a doctorate in whatever I can't remember what her field of study and teaching is, but I bet she has a doctor. She probably has a doctorate in that.
Listen, she's a female. She wants to decriminalize drugs.
All right, y'all. I gotta go. Get these kiddos a bath ready for bed. Keep you guys awesome. Much love. All right, Lacey, sounds good.
Love you too, Lacey.
Get
Thanks.
them kiddos clean and put to bed. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh, she plays hockey too.
Watch out. She's a tough lady.
She graduated from Baylor. Boo.
Boo.
Next year, she graduated from SMU, Southern Methodist University, with an
Okay.
MBA. PhD in industrial/organizational psychology from Clemson University in 2002.
What the heck?
Working as a senior lecturer in psychology at Clemson, teaching intro to psych, pursuing happiness, and social psychology.
Interesting. Should have an interesting outlook on how things need to be run.
I knew I liked her. Psych grads, gang, gang. Goes back to 1980 presidential election when she voted for Ed Clark. If you would be better off with the policies I've outlined rather than those of Biden or Trump, then demonstrate it by giving your support and giving your vote.
There you go. I heard it from her first.
I'm going to follow her on Twitter.
There you go.
Anyway, I want to shout from the rooftops that we do not have a free market system in healthcare. Preach! And how if we tried free markets, they would work. Preach! Fix our unsustainable social security system. Preach! Presents a choice for Americans to opt out of Social Security in order to take complete control of your financial future.
Oh
Don't
my
hate that
god. No,
either.
I don't. I like that a lot, actually.
Don't hate that either. It's like they're trying to set up our own IRAs for us. It's like, well, I can do that on my
Yeah, I
own.
can do that on my own, thanks. And
I
I
don't
don't want
need
my
you.
money going to some other old geezer.
No, I don't need you to help me financially plan for my future. We should be able to, figure that out on our own, especially when our government is not very good with managing money.
Actually, the worst.
They're not good. That's for sure. Not good.
Speaking of our government, why don't you enlighten the people of what you have found out about our current pandemic and its origins?
Well,
Buckle up, kids.
it's interesting to say the least. So I learned today that the U.S. government actually was a major funder and contributor to the lab in Wuhan that suspectedly, no, I shouldn't even say suspect. One of the ideas or theories, allegedly is a better word, where the virus actually came from. The U.S. government gave a $3.7 million grant to the Wuhan lab. In what year was that? Let me find it here again real quick. It wasn't that long ago.
You said 14, right?
I think it was 2014, yeah. I'm like trying to search through this video to find that headline. So basically what we were doing is we were studying the virus here, and we ended up having to suspend the virus because it was quote unquote risky research.
You don't say.
Yeah, I guess so. And we were breaching the Biological Weapons Convention, where they were basically trying to create.
So they were basically trying the biological weapons convention.
Well, what they were trying to accomplish is to make sure that people weren't producing viruses as basically like chemical warfare, And
in doing so, we were breaching that, so we decided to push it off on a country that could give a fuck less.
Well, that's exactly what it was. So instead of, it would be like if we had a sweatshop in America that was making shoes or whatever, and the government, sweatshops aren't cool. That's, you're exploiting child labor. Can't do that. And they were like, oh, I'm really sorry. We'll make sure that we don't do that anymore. And so instead of actually not doing it anymore, we just said, well, let's just send the sweatshop to China because it's cool over there, basically. So we gave them that $3.7 million grant to um, basically continue to study, and it's supposedly a man-made virus that did quote unquote stem from. It's not even the wet markets in Wuhan. That's I think that was just a narrative came up from somewhere, but it was a virus found in bats in caves.
Hmm.
So like legitimate bats out in the wild,
Right.
like nothing to do um,
How food
with
is
wet markets
bought and sold.
whatsoever. Yeah, or people or bats shitting all over food that's bought and sold. Um, and within that same breath, I actually found out that Snopes, the fact checking website, was started by a husband and wife, and that guy ended up getting divorced from his wife because he was using the money that they had made after they got sponsored by Wikipedia, basically for escorts.
Jesus.
He was basically laundering money. He ended up marrying a Las Vegas escort. That's his new wife now. After, yeah, you can't write this shit, dude. It's like a
How?
Hollywood movie. Um, and so basically after they got funded by Wikipedia, it really um, became more of a we're gonna be paid to be supported by these people and make sure that we control what is controllable and keep this shit looking good for the people that need to keep this looking good versus really fact checking.
Oh God.
Because there was a doctor on this video that I was watching who was like basically exploiting the whole coronavirus, and I don't know that I believe everything about like this all this conspiracy shit, just like everything else.
Right.
Basically what they're saying is like SARS, Ebola, swine flu are all used by the powers that be to fund major pharmaceutical companies. So like there was a convention sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation 5 months before the coronavirus really was a thing, and it was basically a mock um, pandemic response team.
Hmm.
And so they're sitting around talking about everything that you're hearing right now, all the way down to like mock interviews with like CNN or Fox News correspondents. And so that's basically what the whole video is saying, that this is all set up. It's always been set up, like going back to anthrax and what was that, Zimbabwe in like 1970 and 1980
Yeah,
in the middle of
79
their
and
civil
80.
war. Again, I don't know that I believe all that shit. What I do feel like I'm pretty educated on and have a pretty good idea of what's happening with the quote unquote novel coronavirus is that this shit just didn't spring up out of nowhere. Like there's a lot of solid evidence,
Right.
and they arrested this doctor, but no charges were ever placed against her.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember people
And
getting arrested, but I never heard anything else about like charges or trials or anything.
they said to her, you can keep all of your doctoral notes, you can keep all of your publishings, basically all the things that are making her money. Like they basically said, we won't discredit you, we won't quote unquote cancel you if you just come out and say you made a mistake and this isn't true.
The fuck?
And she was basically like, piss off. No, like if one person would die because I'm not telling the truth, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like
Right.
that's what I signed up to do as a doctor, is to protect and help treat people. And what's happening right now, that's not what's happening right now. It's being used as a political ploy during
Mm-hmm.
an election year
Which
for
is
both sides
very,
to throw shit at each other.
if you're really into the conspiracies, it was very suspect that this came out during an election year.
Ebola, swine flu,
Yeah, all of these major like
every 4 years, almost like clockwork.
viruses and stuff always seem to fall the same time an election year rolls around. So it's it's very convenient that this happens every time.
I Here's what keeps me up most about this entire situation is I want to know why.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I think I kind of know why, but it seems very trivial on the surface. Like, and it all bases around money.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you get to a point where somebody in one of those high ranking places would see behind the curtain and be like, y'all, this is fucked. Like, what are we doing here?
I feel like there's people that have probably have seen behind the curtain, and then they were like, "Yo, what?" And then it got out that that person was about to whistleblow, and they shut them down.
I,
That's, I mean,
is it just really the corruption of power and money? Is that really all that it is? Because if that's really all that it is, like I have so little faith left in humanity
yeah, I mean, and I
and the
wouldn't be
powers that be.
surprised if it came out that that was what it was, because money and power does corrupt people, and there are plenty of people that have money and power that are not, corrupt, and or at least, you know, excuse me, so far it hasn't come out that they are corrupt and are doing, good work and good things with the power and the money that they have. But the ones that get the most focus are the ones that are corrupt and have been corrupted by it. And it just makes
Well,
for a good story.
I I just don't know how you could legitimately believe at this point in time that a virus that is instantly killed by UV light, that all of the things that Brett Weinstein, the biologist, said on Joe Rogan's podcast, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it because he's an incredibly smart human being and he talks about the genomes and all that shit about how it, has multiplied. And it comes down to the fact that it's like, well, this kind of seems like it was made in the lab. And I don't think they necessarily released it for like any sort of like
On
population
purpose.
control or
Yeah.
anything like that. But when you start fucking around and trying to engineer this shit and then it actually does get out, goes to the very point as to why the United States had to outsource this research into the virus because it's like, hey,
If that had happened
not a
here,
good idea.
yeah,
Yeah, imagine if it would have came from here.
if it
Imagine if
had
it would have started
leaked
here.
if it had leaked out of a lab here, God, like all hell would break loose.
But we're the embarrassing country.
I mean, still kind of embarrassing because we can't fucking kick this thing. Most other countries have, figured it out and got back to a sense of normalcy.
Well, a lot of other countries also have a much smaller population size, much smaller sample size.
Also true.
So, and what are we known for? Land of the free, home of the brave, baby.
Don't tread on me.
Stubborn. We're not taking no shit from anybody. And gee, damn it, if you tell me to wear a mask, you can shove that mask right up your asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It's
it's frustrating.
we've bred a culture of selfishness and less. I'm not saying that we need to be wholeheartedly about the communal good, the greatness, like the greater good for all people. But in times like these, I feel like we should probably set aside our selfishness and work to get back to a place of normalcy where we're not wearing masks every day and quarantining every 3 weeks and
Well, and I was having this thought the other day. Part of me, I understand where those people are coming from because there's such a distrust within our news and media outlets and within our government. There's such a distrust that people on both sides are going to be like, that's bullshit.
mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. I really do. I don't think it's right. I think you should wear a mask and just be a decent human person. But at the same time, I understand where that distrust comes from. Why can we not just fucking tell the truth? Like, when did that become such a far gone idea within the distribution of information like we get our news from just Twitter these days. You know,
Right.
we hop on and we just see a tweet and we're like, oh yeah, must be true. And people realize that, but at the same time, they don't do anything to change it. It's fucking frustrating as shit, dude.
It is indeed.
What are you doing over there?
Sorry, I'm reading texts.
Oh, gotcha.
Um,
You look tired, bro.
I'm very tired. I was about to say that I might cut this short just because I am extremely tired. I went from a little glimpse behind the curtain, I guess, for all you guys out there. Is I went from feeling really pretty good the past, few days over this weekend, um, and then some things happened again in the personal life that really just took it out of me.
We've
Um,
only got 2 viewers right now, so I don't think if I think people are gonna have to watch the YouTube
they're gonna have to
or
watch the
watch
YouTube.
this again if they want any sort of the information. So
This is true. So
Ben's been going through it, guys.
for me,
He's fucking going through it.
I'm going through kind of a little bit of my own personal hell right now.
Hey,
Um,
one thing that I'm super proud of you though is you're seeing a therapist.
it's helping a lot, and I actually have another session tomorrow, which will help. Um, but yeah, that's just a small. That's a small peek behind the curtain, which I'll probably edit out of the video anyway.
Fucking better not.
I mean, I don't need to put my personal information
No,
on blast.
there's not. All you're doing is seeing a therapist.
That's true. But yeah, so for me tonight, guys, I know we're about 2.5 minutes shy of an hour. I'll round it up and say we've hit an hour. Um, for those of you still staying strong, if there's anything, I'll give you probably another minute. If there's anything else you want us to hit on real fast before I call it early, um, let me know. And
Maybe we should do another Friends Friday this week.
I'd be down.
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that. It'd be the start of a new, well, very close to the start of a new month. So
Mm-hmm.
that would probably be nice.
We could just get trashed and talk shit.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, you guys, sorry that I'm kind of ho hum and bummy right now and very tired, but I'm gonna call it.
Everybody, go tell Ben that you love him this week. Make sure you know how much you love Ben, or that he
Uh,
knows how much you love him.
okay.
Anyway,
But yeah, for now, you guys, I'm gonna call it. I will do better this week, hopefully, about getting this edited and put up. It will probably be closer to later in the week when I have some more time. But yeah, so for this week, I'm gonna call it. We're gonna call it right here, right at about an hour, and we'll see you guys maybe on Friday for a friendly Friday. But until then, be safe, love each other, and stay educated.
be good.
Seek the truth,
Seek the truth.
and we'll talk to y'all later. All right.
Vote for JoJo Jurgensen.
See you guys. Bye.